What's going on, guys? And my hat. What's going on, guys and gals? YouTube, how you doing? My name's Rounded TikTak, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Nocturno. Just a quick side note: that video that I'm still working on, It's not a video; it's a lot of videos, and it's taking a lot longer than I wanted to get it actually done. A lot of recording, a lot of editing. It's a pain in the butt, but I want to get it done for you guys. It'll be out as soon as I can. It's kind of hard to record when your family home 24/7. Number two, today we're going to be talking about the Nocturno, the brand new, well, it's not brand new, it's not new at all. Actually, it's probably one of the oldest guns in the game. Ramirez rifle, the Nocturno. The weapon that is technically a meme at this point, if we're being completely honest, known throughout the world for trading and, scamming kids and etc. We finally got patch notes today, or whatever they're calling them, home-based status report, I believe is the technical term. Sorry about that. And they buffed all of the founders' weapons. Now, how to get the Nocturno is you can't get it anymore. If you happen to pay the $300 for the unlimited pack, I think it's 300, may have been 250. For the most expensive pack, this was the prized thing you got. Now, for a long time, it sucked. It wasn't good. Just to clear up a misconception here is people would compare this, oh, it's just a black scar, just a black siege breaker. It's not. It always could and still does roll better than the siege breaker ever could. Therefore, back in the day, this was probably the best weapon in the game up until around season 2 or 3. The only thing that really took this out of position was the bundle bus. But before that, this really was a good weapon, and it's still good nowadays, but they changed the 6th perk on it. And now it's just, good? No, good's not the right word. Overpowered? No, overpowered's not the right word either. Broken? Yeah, it's broken. So the Nocturno, what did they change? Well, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on in this video. But first, let's take a look at it and let's compare it to another weapon that's similar in this style. So here we have a Nocturno with reload speed, crit rating. We have it water, and there's a specific reason for that. Crit damage and crit damage. Now, the new 6th perk reads as such. Hitting an enemy with the weapon marks them as a target. Stacking with each hit. Upon reload, each marked target explodes in a 0.5 tile radius, dealing 65% of weapon damage dealt per mark applied, and removes all marks from the target. Now, before we get into the actual mission, let's just talk about this 6th perk, because this is what is completely busted about the weapon. And it's not like an exploit or anything. I'm pretty sure it's just somebody put a decimal place in the wrong spot. But tell me what is missing from this sentence compared to any other weapon we have that has some sort of stacking thing. There are two things that it could be, but they both do the same thing. Within that entire paragraph of a description of what this 6th perk does, we are missing one of two things. One is either a cap on the stacks. That's number one. Number two, we are missing either a cooldown on the 6th perk happening. Every other weapon in the game, except maybe something like the Mythic AR, off the top of my head, I'm not sure if it has a cooldown. There's usually a cooldown or a cap of the stacks. How I believe this should be read is hitting an enemy with this weapon marks them as a target, stacking with each hit. Up to 10, up to 5, etc., etc. Because if we take a look at what this actually does, it's kind of crazy. So what actually happens is you shoot them, they get this little bomb over their head, you'll see it in the footage, and then when you reload, all of that damage that you did should detonate that target. Now, that's not happening at the moment. What is happening is you detonate that target and all the other targets with them hitting for 107 million damage. That's what's happening right now. I'm sure that's not exactly what they meant for it to do, but we can take a look at this perk and let's just bust out the calculator real quick and see what it should be doing instead of what it actually does. And if that's the case, and with that, let's see if it actually compares to the weapons we have nowadays. So with this rolled like this with a reload speed, we have a magazine size of 30. With those 30 bullets, just using base damage here, let's just stay off of headshots and crits, even though it's way more than this, but we'll just do base damage. Let's do 7,500 times 30. We're at 225,000 damage. This is solo gameplay with no crits, no headshots, not taking any of that into consideration. So taking that all into consideration, we're looking at 146,250 damage per reload. All right, in this instance, let's take a look at the high end here. We're gonna do 11,600 damage for a headshot. We're gonna multiply that by 3.2 for the 320% crit damage that we have on the gun. Then we're going to add the base damage back to that at 11,600. So we have 48,720. Now these are unrealistic terms in a vacuum, but we're gonna multiply that by 30 for the entire magazine, and that's 1,461,000. If we multiply that by the 0.65 that we get from the 6th perk, 950,000 damage per reload. It takes less than 3 seconds to empty this entire magazine's clip, and you're doing, or this entire weapons magazine, and you're doing almost 1 million damage on a reload. On top of that, the buff spreads, the explosion spreads in a 0.5 tile radius. This is destroying things like the Mythic AR. This is probably the best gun in the game simply for this. It has everything you want. It has a decent sized magazine, good crit damage, and can clear trash and big guys with this reload perk. The gun is absolutely fantastic. So from here, I'm just gonna show you my loadout real quick. We jumped into my endurance. I'm playing Special Forces Jonesy with no AR buffs whatsoever, because currently it doesn't matter. I have my Nocturno, the one that you guys saw. We're going to start up endurance, and I'm going to show you exactly what's going on here, because it's legit broken. Now, soloing endurance isn't the easiest thing in the world, but it's not super difficult either. I just want to show you exactly what is going on, because it's quite ridiculous, if I'm being completely honest, and it's something that's most likely 100% going to get fixed. Let's just let these enemies load in, and I'll show you exactly what's going on here. So a few things, I gotta lower my sound. So a few things aren't working here properly. Number one is the damage buff that we receive is much stronger than it should be. If you see here, it one-shots him. This guy down here, one-shots him. Was that 107 million damage, I believe, or 10 million damage? Yes, it is. But that's not the only thing that's really going on here. The weapon itself, after it received the buff, I didn't honestly play with it a lot, and it's doing a lot more damage than I originally expected it to do. This taker here doesn't matter. Just hit him with that reload, and they insta-die. So you tag them once or twice, and they just die. It's quite ridiculous, if I'm being completely honest. It's completely overpowered and completely broken, but if it was working as intended, I think it would be a pretty damn decent weapon. Not only does it proc when you're reloading, it also procs just when you kill an enemy. So as long as I kill something, like that little guy next to him, he blew up into the flinger and killed the flinger as well. This guy coming up here, no big deal. Just kill him, and anything that was maybe behind him will get killed as well. Now, what I think is happening here, number one, I think it's coded incorrectly. In fact, we all know it is coded incorrectly. Whether the damage numbers for it are just, you know, a decimal place off, which is highly probable, there's probably also something going on here. Because if you guys can see, it's what's actually going on here, at least what I believe is going on here, is the weapon is killing something. When it kills it, it's too fast to actually see, but when you kill it, the bomb buff that goes off immediately spreads that debuff to the enemies and simultaneously killing them. So imagine you're playing Minesweeper and all of them connected, and you clicked one and it just was an ever cascading out explosion. That's basically what's going on, at least what I think is going on. You kill one target, the bomb automatically chains to the next target, and it's so much damage that they just insta-die anyway. And if you had enough enemies, thousands upon thousands of enemies, you'll basically one-shot them all. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that we've had the best results with a water Nocturno. I will equip a level 106 energy Nocturno, and you're gonna see slightly different success rate. So this is the frost one, so we know that one works. Let's switch to the energy 106. And you're gonna notice big numbers, but I don't think we're gonna see 109, 107 million. 82,000? This is more probably on par with what it's supposed to be doing. For some reason, frost seems to be the way it's broken the most, which is very weird because that's a very odd thing to get coding incorrectly. The element, it changes things minimally, I would assume. So I don't understand how that's what's causing this to actually be an issue. But it seems to be that if you really want to use this weapon in this crazy capacity, then definitely roll it water if you happen to have one. The Nocturno, ladies and gentlemen, is definitely busted. It works really, really well, but something to note is, remember, I am using a water Nocturno here, and just the base DPS is quite respectable. It really, really is. So all in all, the Nocturno always has been a really decent weapon. It's not bad by any means, never really was, but there were just weapons that were slightly and a lot better than it. However, with this new perk, either how it is now, which is completely broken, or even working properly, I think the gun is actually a contender for one of the better ones. I would really want to test this again. We might revisit this gun once this gets fixed. The devs are well aware that this is a thing, so I don't want to see any comments, TikTak, you're going to get it nerfed. They already know. They already told me. So don't worry about that. I just think the weapon's a lot of fun to use, and you might as well use it a couple times before they do get it fixed. Probably just a mathematical error somewhere within the coding. And that's really it, guys. That's the brand new, well, not really new, Nocturno. If you guys like streams, I stream 5 days a week over at twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. We would love to see you there. Stop by anytime if you have any questions, or maybe we'll even do some Nocturno giveaways. Just come by the channel next time we go live. Make sure to follow. And lastly, if you guys like this kind of stuff, I post videos like this, full trap tunnel guides and weapon breakdowns all the time. Think about subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. TikTak out.